Good morning, everyone. My name is Kai Ngoma, and on behalf of the Purdue Product Data Management Club, I'm excited to present how we're transforming engineering data governance across Purdue's design build teams. Our mission is simple. It's to deploy ARIS Innovator, a product data management platform, embed proper change management protocols and principles to every affiliated STEM team that chooses to work with us. Think of us as a framework for Purdue STEM teams at Purdue. So I'm going to go over these topics today in this presentation: literature review, problem to solve, solution, measures of success, methodology, results, and lessons that we've learned from last year. So as I said before, the purpose of this club is to clearly define and present consultation to internal affiliated Purdue teams. Following a revision from last year, the club focuses on documenting holistic engineering data aspects, internal and external club communications, and implementing proper product data management systems. So to dissect the actual problem we're solving, Purdue PDM aims to train the teams on ARIS Innovator, a specific Purdue PDM platform, and managing their data, creating instructional collaboration environments through bi-monthly meetings and liaison consultation on their engineering data assets with each team member, which each team implement ARIS Innovator software into their product lifecycle. More specifically, this looks like categorizing PBM documents, configuring documents into the server, creating documentation and a guide for the clubs, and then proper engineering change order workflow within the actual software, the PDM software I mentioned before. And then this leads to immediate goals of applying objectives strictly to Purdue PDM documents through our framework and modifying other items as necessary. And so our solution that we came up for that we've been working on is this is our workflow deliverable. And this is basically a framework, visual framework that the teams can use to essentially create, ideate, and through the entire life of the product that they're making, whether it's a rocket for the Purdue aerospace teams or it's a car for the Purdue motorsports teams. This is a good template that they use to go through the entire process. Our solution is the reduction of miscellaneous files, documentation that follows prescribed protocol, percentage reduction in workflow times, and club level legacy documents so that they can pass on this great information and this great time-saving protocol that they learned this past year. We found out from our internal studies that between 30 to 40% of the teams we chose to collaborate with this year have between 30 to 40% of their entire capacity is just on searching for files and overall organization. And that's time taken away from actually ideating and innovating in their respective teams. And so another solution we came up with was there's no longer a club name with control vocabulary. We decoupled the assigned creator protocol within ARIS Innovator from club identity to enable accountability, and introduced sequential non-colliding document number generator. This eliminated numbering schemes that made things inefficient. And on the workflow side, we authorized a engineering change order within the ARIS software. This effectively is codifying the initiation, the review, and the fast track of the different documents so that there's a proper structure, as seen before here, on how to actually move forward with uncontrolled duplicates, removing uncontrolled duplicates, and let change history survive through the entire product lifecycle. And then this is what that essentially looks like. You have all these different new formats and organization for the teams so that they're not scrambling for files on a Google Doc. They are organized, professional. This is replicating industry level product data management, which is what big companies such as Boeing or big engineering firms use to reduce headaches. And in our methodology, continuing on, we published a documentation style guide and a living configuration baseline report. We configured a change review board with essentially a voting system for the higher ups, so This spans for roles such as club leader, for the main heads such as the treasury, production, and this ensures technical integrity and budget realism. So essentially, when it comes to making big decisions with the club, big engineering decisions, we basically modeled it after industry, so they all have a voting on whether a system gets passed. You can see when there's a decision being made, they can cancel a change, they can plan a review, and we basically weight the voting of the system based on their hierarchy within the club. And then measures of success. We codified 7 artifacts whose creation is the metric, a fully attributed change process report, a standardized swim lane workflow, fast track classification matrix, as you can see here. And all of this quantitatively led to a greater than 30% reduction in average file retriever time and an average 20% reduction in change cycle time, essentially from getting from one stage of the product lifecycle to another. And this led to great results. And this is our measure of success due to the nature of the projects. Our measures of success would be the clubs physically having a new change process report documentation. The clubs now have workflow and standardized flowcharts. The clubs now have fast track classification, priority matrix, change review board. So that's a hierarchy within the clubs. And then now the change process and report templates so that operations happen faster. There's not much back and forth, and this all leads to greater capacity within the team. And sorry. And then this leads to a reduction of minutes from lost file times to approval times. You can see that the numbers have dropped from 180 to 61 and 41. And the lessons learned was overall, since last year, sticking with weekly deadlines, the Aris server being ready because it's dependent on Purdue systems. So that's been tricky, and not having to remake data items. The risks exposed, not sticking to deadlines, teams backing out because there's too much internal conflict with their teams respectively, and lost data integrity. Those are 2 risks that we had to deal with and have learned. But overall, I seen a measurable increase in performance within the teams. Thank you.